Picture two men. One has been stabbed, slashed, poisoned, and blown apart, and every single time he gets back up. Not because he can't feel the pain, because the pain doesn't matter more than the promise. The other one, he doesn't get hurt, not because he's lucky, because the laws of physics are not allowed to touch him. Roronoa Zoro and Gojo Satoru. One built himself from nothing, through suffering, through failure, through a promise made over a grave. The other was born the strongest, and then chose to become something even more dangerous than that. These two men come from different worlds, different rules, different definitions of what strongest even means. But today, we are putting them in the same room, and by the end of this video, you are going to walk away with something most anime fans never stop to actually think about. This isn't just a power comparison. This is a conversation about two completely different types of greatness, and which one actually means more. Let's go. Welcome. If you're new here, perfect timing. If you've been here, you already know we don't do surface level takes. Before we get into it, let me tell you why this comparison actually matters. Most versus videos just ask, who wins the fight? And look, we're going to answer that, but if that's all we asked, we'd be wasting both our time. Because Zoro and Gojo aren't just powerful characters. They represent two completely opposite philosophies about what strength is supposed to look like. Zoro is a man who chose his ceiling, who decided how high he would go, and then paid every price necessary to get there. His power is a receipt, proof of work. Gojo is a man who was handed an impossible ceiling at birth, and then, instead of resting under it, decided to push it even higher. His power is inheritance weaponized. So here's what we're actually comparing today. 5 categories: raw power, fighting intelligence, character growth, legacy, and mental fortitude. And I'm going to tell you right now, Gojo wins one of these in a landslide, but Zoro wins 3, and the reasons why are going to change how you see both characters. One more thing before we start. Stay until the verdict, because there's a point at the end of this video that I haven't seen anyone else make, and I think it's the truest thing you can say about both of these men. Alright, round 1. Let's start with the obvious one. Power, Gojo Satoru. The man was born with the 6 eyes, a rare ability that appears once per generation. Combined with the limitless technique, what that means is Gojo can manipulate space at an atomic level. He can make infinity itself into a shield. Nothing reaches him. Not physically, not conceptually. His hollow purple technique doesn't just destroy things, it erases the space where things existed. And the most terrifying detail about Gojo? He does all of this blindfolded. Not because he has to, because he doesn't need to see you. The 6 eyes work through the blindfold. He wears it to protect other people from the visual overload of looking at them. Let that sink in. His own allies said it plainly. With Gojo alive, we cannot win. His existence alone changes the rules of the world he's in. Now, Zoro. No devil fruit, no cursed energy, no ancient bloodline ability, just a man, 3 swords, and haki. But what Zoro did at Wano changed everything. He cut Kaido, a creature described throughout One Piece as literally unable to be wounded by conventional means. Zoro didn't just damage Kaido, he left a scar, using Conqueror's haki coating. Something Zoro figured out in the middle of a fight he was losing. He channeled the spirit of a king through his blade, and he did it while bleeding from wounds that would have killed anyone else in that room. That's not a power level. That's will becoming a weapon. Round 1. Verdict, Gojo wins. His ceiling is conceptual. It operates on a different plane. But note this, Gojo's power was given. Zoro's was extracted from suffering. That difference is going to matter a lot by the end of this video. Scoreboard, Gojo 1, Zoro 0. Round 2. Fighting intelligence. Tactics, adaptation, and instinct under pressure. Raw power is the weapon. Intelligence is who actually aims it. Gojo is a tactical genius. He reads opponents in real time. He understands cursed energy at a theoretical level that is decades ahead of everyone around him. He invented new applications of his own technique mid-battle. He taught himself reverse curse technique, which is essentially healing his own brain at a cellular level, while actively fighting. That is not just strength. That is a mind working at a frequency most characters can't even perceive. But here's the honest thing. Gojo can afford to be intellectually lazy sometimes. Because his defense is infinite, he doesn't always need the perfect strategy. The Limitless does the thinking for him. Zoro has no such safety net. Every single fight, Zoro is calculating in real time. Weight distribution, breath, angle of attack, the opponent's stance, his own injuries. He developed observation haki from scratch. He mastered armament haki to cut the uncuttable, and his greatest feat of intelligence was his fight against King, where he was losing badly and reverse-engineered an entirely new haki application by studying his opponent's power in the middle of being beaten by it. He didn't get a tutorial, he figured it out while it was happening. That is an elite mind. And then there's the Mihawk moment. When Mihawk's blade was heading for his eye, Zoro leaned into it deliberately. That wasn't recklessness. That was a calculated statement about who he was. Pride used as a strategic tool. Round 2, verdict, Zoro. Gojo's intelligence is brilliant. Zoro's intelligence is survival. The difference is that Zoro's mind was sharpened in situations where being wrong meant dying. That edge matters. Scoreboard. Gojo 1, Zoro 1. 1 each, and we're about to hit the round that I told you at the start would flip everything. But before we get there, I need to ask you something. And I want you to actually think about it. In your life right now, are you more of a Gojo or more of a Zoro? Are you the person who was handed something remarkable, a talent, an opportunity, a gift, and you're figuring out what to do with it? Or are you the person who started with nothing, and the only thing pushing you forward is a promise you made to yourself that you refuse to break? Because the character you connect with in this debate, it's never really about the anime. Round 3 is about character growth, and I'm about to show you something about one of these men that most people, even the biggest fans, completely overlook. Do not skip this. This is the whole video right here. Round 3. Character growth. The round that changes the whole debate. Alright, here it is. Let's talk about Gojo's growth first. And I'm going to be honest in a way that Gojo fans might not love. Gojo Satoru arrives in Jujutsu Kaisen already complete. He is the finished product. Gege Akutami designed him that way on purpose. Gojo is the ceiling, not the climb. His development isn't in power, it's in how he begins to genuinely care. He shifts from a cold, untouchable prodigy who saw everyone as beneath him into someone who invests his whole belief in the next generation. Yuji, Megumi, Nobara, he becomes a teacher who actually means it. That arc is real, and it matters. But here's the truth. Gojo's growth is a supporting arc. He is the wall the story pushes against, not the story itself. Now, Zoro. Zoro's growth is one of the most complete character arcs in all of anime, and people miss it because One Piece is long and they're watching through the filter of he's just the strong one. Start with East Blue Zoro, raw ambition, pure ego. He genuinely believes that willpower alone makes you the greatest. He is wrong, and Mihawk shows him exactly how wrong. In 12 seconds, that moment, lying on the ground, destroyed, accepting the loss completely, and then making a vow to never lose again while his blood soaked into the deck, that is the beginning of everything Zoro actually becomes. What follows is one of the greatest slow burns in anime. Each arc peels back a new layer. He learns what humility looks like. He learns what it means to bleed for something bigger than your own dream. And then, Thriller Bark. Zoro absorbs all of Luffy's pain, every wound, the full weight of a fight Luffy barely survived. He takes it into his own body. And when Sanji finds him, Zoro is standing in a pool of his own blood, and all he says is, nothing happened. 3 words, the most devastating 3 words in shonen anime history. Because it means, I would erase myself before I let this crew carry what I can carry for them. That is what Zoro is, not the swords, not the haki. That moment. By Wano, Zoro isn't just chasing a title anymore. He understands that the dream was never really about him. Round 3, verdict, Zoro. And it is not close. Gojo is iconic. But Zoro is built from something that goes deeper than power ever could. Scoreboard, Gojo 1, Zoro 2. Round 4, legacy. How? Each man changed. Anime. Forever 2 rounds left. Let's talk legacy. Gojo Satoru changed what cool looks like in anime. The white hair, the blindfold, the casual, almost bored invincibility. He is the reason almost every new shonen now has that one character who is just built different from episode 1. He didn't follow a template. Gojo became the template, and he did it fast. JJK went from manga to global phenomenon in what felt like overnight, and Gojo was the face of that explosion. In terms of cultural velocity, speed of impact, meme reach, fashion influence, fan art volume, Gojo might be the most dominant anime character of the last 10 years. But Zoro's legacy is something different. It's older, it's quieter, and in some ways it goes deeper. Zoro has been inspiring people for over 25 years. His training arc, his loyalty to his captain, his three-sword style, the first mate who could be the protagonist, that character type exists and is respected because Zoro defined it. He is the reason people cry rewatching scenes they've already seen 100 times. Gojo's legacy is a wave. Enormous, fast, crashing. Zoro's legacy is a current. Slower, yes, but it runs underneath everything. Round 4. Verdict draw. Different scales of legacy. Both undeniable, both permanent. Scoreboard. Gojo 1, Zoro 2, draw 1, 1 round left. Gojo, 1 point. Zoro, 2 points, 1 draw. Zoro is ahead. But this final round? Mental fortitude. This is the one I've been saving. Because this is the round that determines not just who wins the scoreboard, but which of these two men means something more to you after this video is over. I'll say this much before we get there. One of these characters found his strength because of what he was given. The other found his because of what he refused to lose. Round 5. Let's finish this. Round 5. Mental fortitude. What you're actually fighting for. Mental fortitude isn't about who can survive the most pain. It's about what you're fighting for, and whether that reason is strong enough to make you irrational in the best possible way. Gojo's mental strength is in his certainty. He never doubts, he never flinches. He walks into every situation already knowing he is the strongest thing in the room. And that certainty is a weapon. When he was sealed in the prison realm, he didn't break. When he was killed, his belief in his students lived on through them. His mind is a fortress because it was never asked to question itself. That is genuinely rare and genuinely powerful, but Zoro's mental fortitude is in his absurdity. He is unreasonably, irrationally, almost criminally committed to his path. He trained underwater with stone weights tied to his body. He holds a sword in his teeth and fights opponents who are faster and stronger. When Mihawk's blade was heading for his eye, Zoro leaned forward, not away, forward, and said, "In the back would be unacceptable." That is not confidence. That is a man who decided at some fundamental level that the direction of a wound matters more than survival. That kind of will isn't built. It's forged, slowly, in the dark, in places where no one is watching and there is no reward for continuing, except the fact that you said you would. Gojo's certainty comes from power. Zoro's certainty comes from a promise, and the promise will outlast the power every single time. Round 5, verdict, Zoro. Final scoreboard, Gojo 1, Zoro 3, draw 1. Alright, here's the final scorecard. Raw power, Gojo. Fighting intelligence, Zoro. Character growth, Zoro. Legacy, draw. Mental fortitude, Zoro. Final, Zoro. 3, Gojo. 1 draw. But before you leave, and I need you to stay for this part, here are the things I actually want you to walk away with, because the score is just the surface. Takeaway 1. In a direct fight, Prime Gojo wins. His power ceiling, especially Unlimited Void, is on a different conceptual level. If we're being honest about physics, Gojo takes Zoro in a fight, but this comparison was never just about a fight. Takeaway 2. Greatness has two forms, given and earned. Gojo shows you the ceiling of what power can look like when you're born exceptional. Zoro shows you the ceiling of what power looks like when you build it from nothing. Both are extraordinary. They are just extraordinary in opposite directions. Takeaway 3. Nothing happened. If you know, you know. If you don't, go find that Thriller Bark scene right now and come back and tell me in the comments what you felt watching it, because that scene is the soul of Zoro's entire character, and I think it's the greatest moment of silent sacrifice in shonen anime. Period. Takeaway 4. The debate between born talent and earned mastery? That's not an anime debate, it's a human one. Gojo and Zoro are two sides of a question people have been arguing about their entire lives. That's why both characters hit so hard. They're not fictional, they're mirrors. Takeaway 5. The character you chose in this debate says something about where you are right now, and that's worth sitting with. Drop your side in the comments. I'll be reading every single one. And if you disagree with the scoreboard, make the case. Show me the receipts. I'll respond. If you made it here, you already know what this channel is. We don't do quick takes. We go all the way in. If this video gave you something, a like takes 2 seconds. It genuinely helps this reach the people who need it. Subscribe if you want more of this. Luffy versus Naruto is coming. Itadori versus Deku is coming. And there is one video I've been sitting on for 3 months that is going to absolutely break the comments section. I'll drop a hint in the next one. Whether you're a Gojo person or a Zoro person, your taste is valid. Both of these characters are elite for a reason, but you've watched this whole video. You know which one leaves the deeper mark. See you in the next one.
いやー、ボロボロだね。
油断すんなよ。
いや、楽しくなってきた。弱いもん。無料空襲。
お前。
大丈夫。紫。